Hello, and welcome to the Wayfaring Panda. I'm Annette. Today I'm participating in the YouTube Hop with All About the Mouse. We get together once a month and scrapbook our Disney photos. We usually have something for inspiration or a picture for inspiration. So I'll put the picture that's for this month up here. And obviously it looks like Captain Hook in a parade or rainbows. So this was really easy for me to decide what to do because I have pictures of Captain Hook and Peter Pan in Disney's Electrical Light Parade. And I had this Echo Park paper that's pretty old called Lost in Neverland. So I'm just tacking down this strip of paper over the background paper, which is kind of like a nighttime one, which I thought would be perfect for Disney's Electrical Parade. I decided to challenge myself with this cuts challenge that was by the Disney Scrappers group that I belong to. It's not on YouTube or Facebook, it's just a chat group that I belong to. And we came up with some challenges to do for the Super Bowl Sunday, but I didn't have time to work on my Disney layouts then because I was working on some other layouts. So one of the challenges was this cuts challenge, and there's different things you could use. So you had to pick at least 3 or 4 of them. So for this one, it says to use punched shapes. So I cut out these borders with my Creative Memories border maker system with the rope punch. And then I'm just gluing these on with my Nuvo Deluxe glue. I thought these would look good because it shows Peter Pan and Captain Hook on the ship. And I obviously think of ropes to go with ships. I mounted my photos on this piece of dark green paper using mounting squares, and then I also used those to attach it to my layout. I have these cutouts of Peter Pan and Captain Hook that I put on the scrapbook page just to see where I could put my photos and still have room for those. And those images came from Paper Pizazz. This is really old. I think I even bought this in the 90s. And it's their Disney's Classics 2. It's like an 8.5 times 11 booklet of Disney pages. There was a page of various Disney characters, and so I could have cut out those using fussy cutting, and that would count also. But another option was cutting machines, so I used my brother's Scan and Cut to cut those out, and it did work. I had to use on the Peter Pan was the only image that my Scan and Cut really couldn't recognize. It could get him, but then Tinkerbell's around it with stars. So in order to get an image like that where Tinkerbell would still be there with all the little stars, I just drew around it in pencil and had it do an inside cut instead of leaving a border. For my title, I cut out some glitter paper using my alphabet dies, and I put some double-sided tape, and I use Elizabeth Craft Designs 4-inch tape for that. And I just cut out the letters for my title, which is Disney's Electrical Parade. And I'm using this quilting ruler to try to get my title straight. I wanted to put Disney's Electrical together, but electrical wouldn't fit on the same line. And then I ran into problems with getting Electrical Parade to fit on one line also. So I do have to get these letters pretty close together to get the whole title to fit. Originally, I was going to cut it out in red because I do have red in the photos with red lights on the ship, and also Captain Hook has red. But I didn't have enough of that glitter paper, and I kind of looked at gold, but it wasn't quite the same color that's in the background. But then I seen this kind of orangish glitter paper. It's kind of an orangey gold, and that actually seems to be the exact color that the lights are on the ship. I had saved the brochure from when we went to Disney's California Adventure in Disneyland. And so it turned out to be good because I knew this was from one of the parades, but I didn't remember if it was Spectrum Magic or the Electrical Light Parade. And really, I remember it as the original. It used to be called the Main Street Electrical Parade. But when I looked in the brochure, it said Disney's Electrical Parade. And then it said it was at the Disney's California Adventure. It wasn't at Disneyland. So, of course, that's why they made the name change. So I'm glad I saved the brochure because I would have assumed that we saw it at Disneyland and that was the Main Street Electrical Parade. I did have trouble seeing if I had things straight without getting my head in the way of the camera. So there are parts where I clipped out where I got in front of the camera with my head, since I didn't think you wanted to see that. I ran into a problem here where my L ran into my Y, so I had to move the Y up a little bit so that I could fit the L in. When I was cutting these letters out, it reminded me of something funny that happened at school this week before I did this video. And we have been teaching our preschoolers. I teach a class where I'm a teacher assistant, and there's a teacher in our 3 to 5-year-old classroom, so it's pre-K. And we've been teaching most of our kids who are 5 how to sound out words and spell them, which is pretty advanced for preschool. And usually it's not something that we teach because it's more of an upper kindergarten, first grade skill to do, and even beginning second. So anyway, one of our kids asked the teacher how to spell electrons. And she got busy and couldn't tell him, and so she went away to help whoever it was she had to help. Then he asked me, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay. And I started helping him, and like, well, really, you can sound that out. Just tap it out like you usually do. It's just longer. The only one that you won't be able to figure out is the K sound, because you know a C and a K can make the same sound. So I'll just tell you it's a C. So I came back later because I had to go help someone to see how he did, and he had written the whole word. And so during conferences, we were telling the parents of a lot of these children how advanced they were and that they would need more challenges next year in kindergarten, and they were all well prepared for kindergarten. And then we held up the book for the parents of this child and said, and what other student is writing about electrons in preschool? Granted, I don't think he's writing it scientifically, but he is using it as a noun. So he is using it in the correct form of sentences. Before I glue these embellishments down, I decided I wanted to add a little strip of paper, which is another cut challenge because one of the things said remnants from cutting paper. Think little pieces, marketing strips, etc. So I'm using the branding strips. So I'm looking through my branding strips to see which ones to use. And I wanted to have it come out from the pictures so that Peter Pan and Captain Hook will have something to stand on so it doesn't look like they're standing in the sky. Of course, Peter Pan could fly, so I guess he doesn't need to be grounded. So I kind of looked through and I found one that had stars. So I decided that would be the best since I'm going for the nighttime vibe. There was a little edge of white on the stars, so I took it to my guillotine trimmer to trim that off. Then I just used my Nuvo Deluxe glue to glue down the strips of paper so that it'll be where I want to put Peter Pan and Captain Hook. I have the sticker sheet that went with this collection, so I chose a few of those to put on the layout. I start gluing down and sticking on all of my different embellishments. The stars I did the same way as I did the alphabets. They're just die cut out of the glitter paper where I have the double-sided adhesive on the back of them. And as I start getting those down, then I also get some smaller stickers off the sheet to put onto my layout. Now, if you wanted stars besides die cuts, if you don't have die cuts, the ones I used are old from Avery, Elle, so those don't exist out there anymore. But you could also have paper punches. I know there's nesting dies for stars. You can probably find stickers of stars. So there's all kinds of different ways you could put on stars. Or if you have a cutting machine, you could cut out some stars. So for this layout, I did use some scraps, punches, different variety of punches and die cuts. You could also use fancy scissors, or you can do fussy cutting. Anything that you can look for, just look for different scraps of paper that you have in different collections, because I used obviously mostly this Echo Park, but then I brought in some old cutouts from some other papers and glitter paper and whatever you have around. So you don't have to add just fancy embellishments that you bought. You can make your own and use what you have. I wanted my layout to be sparkly because of the light parade, and so that's why I used the glitter paper and decided I would add some stickles. So I decided the silver didn't really go with the layout, and I put on some red, and then I tried to put on some gold stickers, but that one seemed totally dried out. So I've had these for a long time, so it didn't surprise me, so then I just added some more of the red stickles. Now, keeping with the idea of using what you have, if you didn't have stickles, you could use Nuvo drops or any other kind of drops like that, pops of color, or you can use enamel dots or gems or even sequins to embellish, and you'd still get some shine. As I mentioned earlier, this is part of a YouTube hop and it's put on by Shannon Blinn. There is a playlist, so I'll link that at the end of this video as well as in the description. Please hop along and check out what all the other creators are doing. You'll get some great ideas of how to scrapbook your Disney pictures as well as get ideas that you could use for other scrapbook layouts. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like. And if you're not already a subscriber, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a wonderful day.